Yeah, that's right, Hugh. We're in Long Beach right now. We pulled over on the side of the road. We actually had another vehicle behind us just a few minutes ago pull over as well, just because it's not very safe to drive in this weather right now. I want to take a look. We're just off of Highway 90, and take a look at this. You can see the wind blowing. The water's about less than 10 feet from the sidewalk here. It is just coming down extremely hard, and we were seeing just a few minutes ago a lot of lightning, and the wind is blowing really hard. So that's kind of what we've been looking at for the last couple of minutes. We're not seeing very many people on the road, but as you can tell, that water is coming in, and it is raining really hard. This is a time where you're starting to see people pull over on the side of the road, just like we've been able to do here, just trying to stay safe as this storm continues to roll through South Mississippi.
Josh, since you've been out since about 8 o'clock or so, driving to the west. Is this the worst the conditions have been since you've been out there?
Oh, definitely, by far. We're starting to see now, as I said earlier, some of those signs toppling over. We're starting to see, a lot of trees swaying back and forth. And I'm in here with one of our engineers, Trey, and he just said it a minute ago, it just looks very, very dark. So I'm assuming, I know you were talking about some of the power outages, but I'm starting to see now with some of the homes, like with the lights completely out. So I'm assuming that there may be, can't get that confirmed, but maybe some power outages in the area. But again, not very many people on the road right now. They're doing the right thing. Stay safe, stay at home, stay out of the way, because the wind is blowing really hard and the water's starting to come in. It is a lot of rain. The roads are slick out here.
Yeah, and we might see that water starting to come up with that heavy rain. Let's get a continued update. Josh, thank you for joining us, and be safe out there. We'll get back with you in just a few minutes. But Eric or Carrie, let's go back over here for the latest updates.
Yeah, I can go ahead and take over on Max 2. Looking at what's happening with our wind speed and direction, we've still got a really decent rotation showing up right over Three Rivers Road in the Orange Grove area around Crossroads. This is around North Swan Road right now. We're seeing some pretty high winds. So the brighter the colors generally, that's where we're seeing some of the higher winds. As far as what's happening with the National Weather Service, they say they are just watching the potential rotation. It could just be a broad area of rotation, but nonetheless, we are still seeing that. And within this is in a severe warned area. So a severe thunderstorm is in effect for this part of Harrison County, and it will continue. And so that's one thing that we also want to reiterate, that within a severe thunderstorm, a tornado could drop down and spin up very quickly, almost virtually without warning. So especially in this situation with the winds the way they are feeding into this system, we are going to be seeing some wind damage, trees down. Like Josh was saying, he saw some signs down, but we're certainly seeing, I'm sure, some ponding on the roadway at this point. And my guess is crosswinds along I-10 are going to be very strong. The good news is behind this, we will be expecting to see a little bit of a big reprieve actually from the winds. They will lay down, but looking at some of these wind gusts right now, you can see they're really pouring into the bay. 38 mile per hour wind gusts there, 33 in Gulfport, 37 in Pascagoula. And we have, of course, seen higher wind gusts through the day today, but this is a very strong line of thunderstorms. Notice there's a tornado around, it looks like maybe Tuscaloosa, Samantha, just east of Reform, north of Tuscaloosa. And this is all the line, and it has moved out. So if you have family up to the north in Beaumont, Leakesville, though, is still seeing some really strong storms. They are moving past there, but there is a tornado warning for that area still in Greene County, a severe thunderstorm warning for parts of George County and Stone County. And this one actually looks pretty, it looks like there's getting an inflow notch right there. It's starting to bow out perhaps into Stone County. So we're seeing some really strong wind gust here. And that's that same one that was moving up over the Lyman area. You see these bright colors, and that's just indicating that we have some really strong wind gust. And when we look at what we would be expecting to see with that. If you see the opposite color close to it, that's where you worry about some type of rotation, like with this system, with this little storm here along North Swan Road. It looks like a pretty decent couplet right there, just east of Highway 49. So you're looking, it's moving over toward 605 right now, up toward the James Elbert Road, Sweet Carolyn Road, White Star Road, and over toward Three Rivers Road. And it's headed toward 67 near the Dogwood Hills area, near St. Patrick, right at that intersection of 605. Folks in Woolmarket, I would definitely be taking your precautions, but especially in Tradition as well. I would be taking your precautions as we're watching this system, this little couplet move up toward the north and east very rapidly at about 45 miles per hour. So it does say that the National Weather Service is continuing the severe thunderstorm warning for Harrison and now Jackson County until 9:45. So that has been extended into Jackson County, I believe. But then we also still have that severe thunderstorm warning for Stone and also for our George County residents as well. Now let's go back over to Eric Johnson on the wall on Max 1.
Yeah, we've been getting some questions about Jackson County. Of course, we haven't mentioned Jackson County yet because the storms have not arrived, but they are now moving into Jackson County now. And the severe thunderstorm warning, as Carrie had just mentioned, coming in until 9:45. This is going to include Ocean Springs. It's also going to include St. Martin right there. And of course, it also includes D'Iberville and Biloxi and areas like Woolmarket and areas like Success just to the south and east of Saussure. But looking at the big picture, you can see this line is now crossing through. Who's in the clear? Pearl River County, you're in the clear. Who else? Hancock County, you're in the clear. We're starting to see the main line now push out of your area. You're still under the threat for eastern Stone and eastern Harrison County, and you're still under the threat in Jackson County and George County. Now the worst of it is now beginning to move on in. Just a little bit closer view. Tons of lightning as it's moving down Highway 49. A little bit closer into, here's Van Cleve. That severe thunderstorm warning, kind of including the western edge of Van Cleve. But if you're in Cedar Lake, if you're in D'Iberville, you're noticing the heavy rain and the wind starting to pick up as that Boeing segment is down. It's now moving down Highway 90 and now moving into Biloxi and Ocean Springs now. And just putting a storm track on this, that line will most likely start to reach areas like Pascagoula and maybe even Moss Point by, let's just say, around 9:30 to 9:50, just depending on whether or not it speeds up as it moves on through. And of course, Helena around 9:51, Van Cleve around 9:35, which is in about 10 minutes or so as that line is progressing into the area. So again, you can see the entire line pushing through. I would say Stone County now that just a new update came in, almost completely done with that line. But Harrison County, especially southeastern Harrison County, east of Highway 49, you're not done yet. We're still watching that circulation there, which is still just to the north of Orange Grove. Let me just slide that back up there a little bit. It is broader and it is relatively weak, but I have noticed maybe some strong winds now pushing onshore over into parts of southern Harrison County. So maybe some 30 to 40 mile per hour winds about to move onshore into Harrison County. But let's take a look at our tower cams really quick. I'm going to jump over a couple of slides and show you what it's looking like in Gulfport. So in Gulfport, that's our tower cam. It looks a little frozen there. Maybe the feed will come in, but you can see the heavy rain and the lightning was with that. We're starting to hear the lightning, or hear the rain on the roof here and hearing the thunder from the lightning. Look how much calmer it is in Bay St. Louis now behind that line. And the line has not quite gotten to our Champion Jeep Ram Tower Cam on top the Beau Rivage. So the leading edge is right over here. It's starting to move in. You can see all that lightning. You can even see it kind of light up the white caps on the water there as that line is starting to push on through. So again, watching this line very closely. The worst of it's now moving through eastern Harrison County, now moving over to Jackson County and George County. Let's head over to, do we have the storm tracker available? Any video from their location? Yep. So it looks like they are traveling. In what direction are they going? They're on Highway 90. And you can see the ponding on the road there, but you can see that it's definitely, they're heading east now. So they're behind that line of storms now. So the worst of it is ahead of them, but they are pushing off towards the east. And you can see the ponding on the roadways there, and that's expected during any time it rains almost on Highway 90. But of course, when you got torrential downpours like this, you can see things. So looks like on the back edge of that line, things kind of improving, and see looks like a little bit of sand on the highway there as well. So let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Carrie Duncan. I believe she has an update.
Yeah, well, what we definitely wanted to point out too with that is that anytime, like Eric was saying, we see that heavy rainfall, that's what you really have to be careful for too out on the roadways. No storm system could handle as much rain as coming down. We're getting really high rainfall rates right now across South Mississippi. In fact, when I was looking up, you can see the storms all the way stretching from Tennessee through Alabama down into South Mississippi. We are still under a tornado watch in South Mississippi, and that will be until 4 o'clock in the morning. More than likely, though, they will allow that to expire sooner. But look at some of our rainfall totals. We have seen a lot of rain popping up in South Mississippi just in the past really few hours since this rain started. Almost 3 inches in parts of Stone County, Pearl River County, 2.5 into parts of Hancock County. I just had someone saying it was still raining really heavily because I'm still live on Facebook, and so it's raining really heavily in Long Beach, and they picked up 1.6 inches, but you really can see that all of these numbers are showing up and are continuing to grow because we're continuing to see some really heavy rain coming down. A very electric storm across South Mississippi, severe thunderstorm warnings for the areas highlighted in orange. So the southeastern corner and almost really the eastern half of Harrison County, and then the western sliver of Jackson County, the eastern half of Stone County, and almost all of George County now in those watch areas. Looking at the velocity, that again showing us where we would be seeing the wind speed and direction. And so that one area we were watching over, it looks pretty broad still, but still seeing some winds for sure around University Boulevard. So this is over the William Carey campus and up near Tradition, and looking along Tradition Parkway, it's moving over the St. Patrick High School right now, and it is going to be pushing off toward the north and east. So folks in the woods, it's headed your way. Bridge Creek Road and LaRue Road, it's headed into Jackson County next, and these are again really strong winds that are pushing inland, and even behind it we're still seeing some strong winds that are showing up, and you can see one area just south of Long Beach still seeing some heavy rain and still seeing some gusty winds with that. So until this line moves far enough away from South Mississippi, the Storm Prediction Center is still going to keep us in that tornado watch for as long as necessary, of course. But you can see the lightning really firing up. Again, these are very electric storms. A lot of folks I know seeing a lot of flashes of lightning, and just taking a sample from that warned area, 346 strikes pretty much within the last 15 minutes, 376, made it just a little bit bigger. So we are seeing a lot of rain, but a lot of lightning. So there's a lot of electricity. Folks in Jackson County, if you haven't already, if you have computers, I would unplug those, and even into parts of Loosedale. I would go ahead and unplug any type of electronic devices that you don't want to get zapped, especially if you don't have them plugged into a power cord. If you have them plugged straight into the wall, that would perhaps save you a bit of a headache in having to deal with that with a lightning strike, because there is a lot of lightning, there's a lot of heavy rain, and we have been seeing some rotation, and some broad rotation, but we have been seeing some rotation with the storms. But as we've been saying, that it looked like the reports that we've been seeing, there was a tornado up, like we were saying, in McLean, and that was numerous power lines and trees down in the McLean community, reports of trees and debris over Old Highway 24. The tornado was observed on the radar, and again, that's for the city of McLean. As far as where else, we're seeing thunderstorm damage just southwest of Hattiesburg and over parts of Louisiana. So hopefully for us, it won't be the case. I'm not seeing anything showing up. There is still that wind advisory. They continued it until 1 o'clock in the morning. It was set to expire at 9. So our wind advisory is in effect until 1 o'clock in the morning for Hancock, Harrison, and Jackson counties. And then the high wind warning was allowed to expire. There is the severe thunderstorm warning for Harrison and Jackson County until 9:45, and then the one for Stone County we are still watching, and that Stone County and then George County. Those warnings are going to be in effect as we head through the rest of, the next to 9:45, I believe. So for about another 10 minutes or so with that particular warning. With both of these warnings actually are set to expire at 9:45. So right now, we do have, again, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. I want to reiterate that with a severe thunderstorm, we can see a tornado, a quick spin-up tornado, drop out of a thunderstorm very quickly and almost without warning. So if you are in these warned areas, I highly recommend getting in your safe spot and writing it out, and just your safe spot, of course, being the lowest level of your home, centermost portion of your house, and away from all windows. And just be safe. The good news is this is moving through rather quickly. So as of now, we just have a severe thunderstorm, and do we want to go back over, Eric? Are you wanting to look at something? Do you see anything as of right now to where we need to stay on? Because we want to get you to a little bit of regular programming, but we're also trying to get ready for our 10 o'clock news that's coming up.
Right. No, just continue to stay weather aware for the next hour or so, especially for Jackson County. We're watching that severe thunderstorm warning. It will likely be extended over to include the rest of Jackson County soon as that line moves on in and over into, of course, George County. We're watching very closely. Looks like a cluster of very strong winds now moving into the southwestern corner of George County, moving towards Loosedale, which is under that severe thunderstorm warning. So as far as rotation right now, don't see any strong rotation on the radar. Of course, that could quickly change, but I don't know if we want to toss back to programming, and we'll jump back in
if we
need to before the 10 o'clock news. But for sure,
Absolutely.
We're going to be on at 10 o'clock for an update.
Right. We're going to be watching it very, very closely to make sure nothing's going to pop up. But right now, again, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that you see for Harrison and Jackson County, and then the one for Stone is just the eastern Stone, and then almost all of George County. Both of those set for about another 8 minutes. So we're not going to stay on for 8 minutes just to see if they expire. It is a lot of heavy rain, very gusty winds, and dangerous lightning. You do not need to be outside. You need to be in your safe space. Ride this out. We are going to be here, and like I said, if we have to cut into programming, we will, but for right now, we're going to return you to regular scheduled programming.